traders. It's a Thursday morning here at TradeDelicious TV. I'm your host, Rich, joined by, I've got to get this right this way, Aaron, all the way from the US. How you doing, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you, brother?
I'm over excited. We've got some big moves in the market. We've got a special guest on today's show.
Yes.
Those of you who joined in the stream yesterday, you'll know who this is. For those of you who don't, I'm going to leave it down to Aaron to give us a big, warm welcome. What do we say? We bring on this mystery guest today?
Absolutely. You know, it's always good to bring on the great mystery man himself. It's super exciting to bring on friends always. You know, this is a guy that we've talked to multiple times through the chat on the Discord, who shared an incredible amount, a expert 11-hour chart trader. You don't see many of those now and then. This is a very, very, very special moment. I'm talking about one man and one man alone. I'm talking about the most modest, magnificent trader we have seen on the channel. It can only be one man and one man alone. The president of profits, the very modest Mike. How you doing, sir?
Wow, that is one hell of an introduction, Aaron. I'm not sure how I'm going to live up to that one. I tell you, that's quite something, man. Thank you. I'm good. You guys all right?
We're doing well, man. But, and really,
how can I stay modest after an introduction like that? You know, it's hard to stay modest with that.
You have to show us the massive profits on your screen, man. But run me through it, my friend. What are you doing? What are you looking at today? What's the weather like in Poland? Like how is life?
So you can tell the missus that today in Krakow it's actually a little bit sunny. It's been cold and miserable for the last few days, but the weather is turning. We're supposed to be getting 20+ degrees by the weekend, so I shall be spending the weekend outside with my little son on his new bike that he got for his birthday. So the weather is good. Charts wise, there, as Rich said earlier, there is a lot going on. There's been some big movements happening, so I think there's going to be some nice opportunities today. Thursdays always seem like a good day to trade. Wednesdays and Thursdays, there always seems to be something happening. So I've been having a quick look. I'm not in anything yet, but as I said to Rich yesterday, I'm on phase 2 of my high stakes 5K challenge. I've done my 2 days of profit, so I need one more day of profit and $200, and then I'm funded. So you never know. I might get funded on the stream if I find a really good trade. So I'll keep you posted if I see anything that looks tasty on the 11-hour or on the 11 minutes. Or the 37 minute. The 37 minute I'm particularly fond of.
37 minute.
37 minute. I'll explain that one a little bit later. Yeah.
I'm gonna address the elephant in the room. I've got to ask, Monk, are you trolling us with these 11-minute charts, with these 11-second charts, 11-hour charts? I never know what to make of it.
I swear to you, I'm not. So
okay.
I know it sounds daft, right? But if you look at I'll tell you what, I'll bring up a chart, right?
Okay, all right. So I'll tell you what, while we're getting this sorted, let me jump ahead. We'll bring up the news calendar today. We'll just kind of run through what we're looking at fundamentally in the markets. Euro bank holiday. Italian bank holiday. We've got the advanced GDP as well coming in at 1:30, which is in 5 hours, I believe, 5 hours from now. So this is going to hit just before the US stream today. So might see some movers with the unemployment claims as well. And then we've got the pending home sales. Aaron, is this pending home sales? Does this affect your futures trades, anything like that?
It does in some sense. Home sales is always going to be a big measure of a strength in the overall economy. So it doesn't affect most of the tech sector, but it does have a massive effect on the overarching market. So we do see volatility for about 30 seconds when that number pops out. But to be honest, they've been pretty good about actually getting that number right. So we haven't seen much movement off of it recently. But who knows? If they get it wrong, we'll see some people lose and make a lot of money.
But this has got to be the big one, the unemployment claims, right? This is the big one today.
Yeah. Focusing on unemployment claims is going to be a big deal. Initial jobless claims. We have a GDP number coming out here in the U.S., but we're kind of waiting. Tomorrow is a core PCE reading. Mm-hmm. PCE is going to be a much bigger deal than anything else, because that is the measure that our Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, looks at most closely when they're making their interest rate decisions. If we see more news like what we've seen over the past few weeks, then It's not going to get any rate cuts, and the dollar is going to gain a lot of strength. And the U.S. economy is going to, I'm not going to say it's going to tank, but it's not going to go up. I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen lead in water, but it has a tendency to go down and go down very quickly. And that's what we're beginning to see as we get reading after reading after reading that says, maybe no rate cuts.
But that's not going to be the case here. I mean, we're about to be exposed to some crazy insights into the 11-minute chart, into the 11-hour chart, into the 27-minute chart. Talk us through it, Michael. What's the key?
So for me, right, put it very simply, I look at liquidity, and I have specific definitions for liquidity that I won't bore people with, right? So I'm going to hide all of that liquidity there. But what I do look at is I look at the inside bars and the outside bars, if we want to put it really simply. And if you look at the 11-hour on TradingView, because you can't get it on MT5, but on TradingView you get loads and loads of inside bars, and they always get taken, right? Very rarely do they get left behind. So if you see an inside bar and you see a long wick here, that gives you an indication that price is going to go up. Same, you could argue.
For our audience, just simplify. What is an inside bar? What would that look like on your charts, just so we can visualize it all on the same page?
So an inside bar for me would be what some people might call a doji, although dojis have different definitions. So we have this one here. Hang on, let me turn off my magnet. Let's fix that a bit better. There we have an inside bar. So in other words, an inside bar hasn't taken the high or the low of the previous candle.
Okay.
So it's within or inside of the previous candle. All right.
Okay.
So I don't call them inside bars. I actually call them dojis or obvious dojis. But I know other people, or seem to be more common, that they call them inside bars. And then an outside bar is the opposite. So is where a candle takes the high and the low of the previous one. And if you see it where, for example, here, so we've got one, let me just take this here. There we've got an inside bar, bearish one, and then it's engulfed and takes, so it's also known as engulfing candle. They then take that entire candle and then shoot on up. And on, let's say we look at that on the 12-hour, we can't see that there. It's not there. There's no indication of that happening. You see it?
I see. Yes.
Right?
Serious, man.
You go to the 11-hour and look how many you can see. You know, in the last, you've got one there, we've got one there, we've got one there. They're everywhere. So on the 11-hour, you get loads of them. Now, I don't trade on the 11-hour. That's just giving me my bias and my direction. But then what I'll do is I will look for example, these big wicks. So for me, that's a rejection of that price coming down on that 11-hour. And then it creates my obvious doji or the inside bar, whatever we want to call it. And then sure enough, it comes down, price comes down, tests that wick rejection, and then shoots on up. So if I see that, for example, that wick there, I would be marking that out and saying, right, this is an area of interest for me where I'm going to wait and see if there's some kind of reaction. Now, if you look at that on an 11-hour chart, right, it doesn't, you know, that chart could be any time frame. So what I then do is I then take it down, for example, to the 11-minute, and then I'll look down on that area that I marked out, and I'll be looking for any kind of indication of it going up. So, I mean, that would be a very, very aggressive move, this one here, because, you know, I can't say that one engulfing or outside bar candle is going to say, right, that's my confirmation for the move up, but it's certainly a strong indication. But I would look for a retest. So you might not find it on the 11-minute, but then you might find it on the 7-minute. So I'll go and I'll look through on the 7-minute, and I can see here actually that it's just taken it. Again, not a great confirmation, but here we've got another outside bar. So I could say, well, look, got one here, got another one here. For me, that I take that as a rule to say price is happy with what it's done. When it's got an engulfing candle, that means we're heading up. And here we have another really strong candle up to the upside. And so the strongest confirmation for me is when I see wicks testing wicks. That for me is when I can see a really strong indication.
You know, I never know how to read that. I've always looked at wicks and been like, I don't know. I'm a fan of candle closers. With
Yeah.
wicks, I've never put the time into studying it. So it's fascinating that you say that.
Yeah. Wicks can. I remember on the other day when you said there was a stream last week. You said, "I don't care about this wick. The wick doesn't matter," but the wick does matter, because especially if you've got a bearish candle followed by a bullish, right? That's basically saying, right, price has taken the low of that
Mhm.
bearish candle and shot right up. So I mean, as you can see, I've got all sorts of time frames here. But what I do is I will look at the higher time frames of say 11 hour, 12 hour, 7 hour, 5 hour, and all of it adds up to give me confirmation of what's going to happen, of what am I expecting
Yeah.
to happen at certain points. So let's say, for example, if we go to the daily, forgive my charts, I've got to tidy them up a little bit. So, for example, here, the reason I've got this marked out, and I'll explain that in a second, is we had an inside bar here on the daily. And that for me is major liquidity. We've just taken it and we're already reacting off that area. So we may have seen the high on GU already. So we may already be seeing a sell opportunity, maybe not, right? Because if I open up my liquidity levels, I've still got a long stream of liquidity further up.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll be looking around to say, right, okay, there's nothing really here at the moment recent. But if I go back to that 11 hour, the reason I've got this marked out is because I can see that there was a big engulfing candle here,
Mhm.
and it had a reaction here. But because it's the 11 hour, it's a much bigger area of reaction. So when people look at supply and demand or support and resistance, I'm looking at it as well, but in a different way. I'm looking particularly at the wicks,
Mhm.
because the wicks are ultimately the low and ultimately the high. So if you see it rejected, that to me says, right, nobody's really interested in this price here,
Yeah.
right? The buyers or the sellers are flipping it the other way. So it's not a key area, but it will get retested further down the line, and it might be straight away, it might be later on. And so you can see here, this zone has been tested here, it's been tested here and bounced up, but then they just eventually pushed through and came back. So they're now coming to test it again. So there is a decent chance, if it doesn't go beyond 50% of that area, there's a decent chance of a sell-off. Not a major one, I don't think, because we've still got quite significant highs. But
Mhm.
again, I look at things like, for example, the moving average. That's something I picked up from Alex,
Yeah.
from the 5%ers. His 200 EMA. So my strategy is kind of a culmination of all sorts of different things. But the way I look at the charts is quite specific, because we all know that it's algorithms really running this now. It's not individual people like it was years ago. And so the algorithms have got to somehow hide the way they're working, right? And so looking at the random time frames, like for example, the 37-minute was something I came up with the other week, because
Mhm.
if you look at the 1 hour, 37 minutes is the 68.2 Fibonacci level. So I thought, I just had a really
I see
random
where you're
idea
going with
one
this.
day.
Hang on. Let me just hop in. So you made a bold statement. You said we all know that algos run the market. Now whether
Yeah,
I agree or
That is a
disagree, what I
bold
want
one.
to do,
Yeah.
I want to give chat an opportunity to go, they agree or disagree. Because what effectively I believe Michael is talking about with this is that algos, programs coded by people, are designed to manage risk, make profit in the market, and very few people, especially at an institutional level, are clicking buy and sell manually in between swigging coffee. Do we agree with that? Do we think that is noise? Do we think that's truth? I'd be curious to, because that's one thing I love to do on stream is when we all know that algos run the market. Do we all know algos run the market? Do algos really? Like, I like to have a discussion about this kind of stuff, because in my mind, I'll absolutely agree. I believe algos are coded to manage risk, and my job is to try and figure out how they're coded and take advantage on the footprint of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my belief. But if I was to put it out there as fact, I don't know. I mean, I like the way that price moves in a way that supports a narrative around that, but is it robots rule the world, says Graham?
There you go. I don't know,
Okay,
gentlemen. In my opinion, I do have to say that I do believe that there are old gray men that just sit in front of the charts and they push the buttons. I don't believe any algos really do anything. I think there's a gentleman named Algo that has just made this whole thing happen. I'm sorry, Mike. Please keep going.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Actually, it's funny you say that. I know there is a guy who still works in the New York Stock Exchange for the last, I don't know, 30 years, and he has like long gray hair and like a beard and everything. And they did an interview with him. I saw an interview with him on MSNBC or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been there. Literally, he is there every day, come rain or shine. He is on the stock exchange, and he is exchanging those contracts like you wouldn't believe. So there are absolutely people still doing it.
But look at what Lord of the Rings. Gandalf the Grey, I'm sure, was a trader before he cast that role, right?
Exactly. Right, but think about it in the sense that the price. Imagine like you're a bank and you are trading those millions and millions, right? And literally every single point on every single asset is worth a significant amount of more money than we're ever going to trade.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, so and the only way you can manage that minute, unless you're on some kind of, I don't know, steroids or something, to like really just bring your brain into the machine, it's got to be programmed in some way, because otherwise, we talk about fat thumbs and everything else. You can't risk that, surely, when you're talking about that kind of money,
No.
So I do believe that there are people who have the experience and the knowledge and the understanding in the markets who can maybe do the greater swing trades and everything else. But I believe on the day and the scalping, it's got to be some kind of algorithmic influence there.
Sorry, I've got to kind of build on that, because Aaron has this scoring system that he uses every day when he comes into the market. Hey, I'm a 4 out of 10. I'm a 5 out of 10. Imagine if you could put yourself at a 10 out of 10 every single day. Well, surely that's algos, right? It doesn't have to deal with the human emotion where I haven't had enough coffee or I haven't slept enough. An algo is literally just going to do exactly what it's coded to do. So maybe there's merit to that. Sorry, Aaron, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to add to that, just because, we oftentimes talk about the scalpers and we talk about the day trading opportunities. But when you think about a large bank that is, for example, if you're over here in the States and you're seeing all these interest rate decisions, are you going to be buying the Japanese yen versus the dollar? You're really going to be thinking about hoarding more dollars, right? Just because there's more of a chance that the dollar will be more valuable a year, 2 years from now than it was just a few months ago. And so thinking about it from that perspective, I do believe that algos have to change and their goals have to change as the goals of these institutions change and these different things happen in the macroeconomic landscape. But at the end of the day, if I have a $25 million account, I would rather a perfect computer place every trade, manage all of the risk, and mitigate all of it. I don't even want to see the numbers. I just want to see percentages. I just want to see representations of the money, not the actual money. And an algo is generally better at doing that than we are.
The people that we don't even know their names run the market. I would disagree. We know their names. He was on the stream just yesterday. He's streaming later on today as well. His name is, well, you know who he is. If you didn't watch yesterday's stream, you're not gonna know, right? But we all know it's the EU trader that sneaks in here, calls himself a stock trader, futures traders, trades all this stuff. But let's be honest, David runs the market. David slays the market. Every time he comes in here on EU, he's pulling bangers.
He does a really great job. He does a really great job. He does.
The one thing, just talking about the algos, the one thing I do think is I don't know how much they can take into account the fundamentals, and that's where I think Richard has said longer swing trading or investing, that particularly in stocks, for example, and things like that, that's got to have some kind of overarching view on it. And you've got to be able to interpret, the wording of statements from certain companies, for example, and things like that. Oh, yeah. So that there is no doubt that there are people behind it. Otherwise, it's the biggest sham in the world that all 100%. These people sit in banks' offices and they just twiddle their thumbs whilst the computer does all the work. That's ridiculous.
No. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
There has to be some kind of human influence on this, but I think the algos will certainly work on the lower time frames. But interestingly, what I've looked at is even when you do see news hits, all that tends to happen is you get that volatility because all of the humans step in and start taking on the market, and then things just pan out and they carry on going the way they were planning to go anyway.
So what, as
So
in news? You think like a lot of humans will trade news and that creates
I
volatility?
think you've got a lot of people in the banks who step in and look at the news and say, right, okay, let me close those positions down there. Let me, close those positions up there.
I
And
want
I
that
think that's
job.
what generates the volatility. I
Imagine
really
that.
do.
You rock up 5 minutes a day. I want that job. My job is to turn up every time there's a red news event and be like, yeah, I click buy and sell on this calendar release. Maybe I'm in the markets. The market moves in such a big way. We called
Yeah.
today's stream swing or scalping. So how do you enter your trades? Are you looking to sort of scalp small moves, or would you say it's more of a swing trading technique?
I'm definitely not a swing trader because I struggle to keep trades open for more than a few hours.
Okay.
Just like psychologically, I just find that really difficult. I have done it, but I tend to get burnt because because my strategy is very much dependent on the market and what I see in terms of the candles and the structure and everything else. A lot can happen in that Asia session. I know that everyone says there's low liquidity, but a lot can happen. If you
Yeah.
look at GU, for example, this morning, it's already done a lot of movement, over here. So, for me, swing trading is a little too risky. I guess I don't have the patience for it, but I wouldn't say I'm a scalp trader either because I do trade the highs and the lows. And if I see that there's an opportunity at the beginning of the day, I will trade that all day because my work right now, I am essentially a full-time trader. So I was made redundant last year from the job I worked in the corporate world, managing real estate and business travel and all those sorts of things. And I basically, took the redundancy package, spread it out as thin as I could, and I've got it running, until later this year, so I can literally full time throw myself into
Okay.
trading and
Mike,
hopefully become
let me
profitable.
ask. Let me ask. Let's bust this myth, right? So we have a lot of traders in here that might be thinking, "Hey, I want to be a full-time trader." I definitely speak to a lot of traders that are aspiring to go down that route. So, as
Yeah.
somebody who's made that leap and has gone into full-time trading, what's your experience been of it? Is it all it's cracked up to be? Is it better than it's marketed to be?
Um, it depends who you're listening to and which influencers you're following. If you follow those, I actually don't follow any of them. I literally have YouTube and that's it. I don't go onto Instagram or any of those because I find that they just distract me entirely. Um, it is mentally very very straining. Like I won't lie, I have blown multiple accounts or multiple challenges like endlessly. A couple of weeks ago, I had a terrible time, and my mental health was just all over the place. And as a result, I think I blew like 2 challenges just because my mind wasn't there. And I thought, right, okay, I've got to stop this. So I did. I paused. And I took the weekend. I took the Monday, and I was like, okay, let me just reset here. But yeah, I actually I go for therapy with a therapist every week, and even she has said in the time that I've been trading, my mental kind of health has improved because Rich, you were doing your journaling when we spoke earlier. How often do you get not forced, but how often are you encouraged to journal in your everyday work? Very
You're not.
rarely,
Yeah,
right?
you're not.
You go and do an office job, or you were a mechanic before it. How often did you journal when you did a mechanic? When you had, you just fixed that, Ford Mondeo, right? Let me just journal how I felt fixing the oil on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't work, right? It doesn't happen. So I think trading in a way, for me, and I'll be honest about this, I've had a long history of battles with mental health, depression, suicidal thoughts, all sorts. And trading is incredibly hard mentally, but actually, I have found it to help me focus my mind and to be more self-aware of my mental state because it
Mm,
impacts my trading, it impacts my day-to-day work, right? So I would say it is incredibly hard mentally. It is incredibly difficult, but I personally find it an incredible journey to learn something where I can analyze. I used to love maths and all that sort of stuff when I was a kid, so I get to use that stuff that I enjoyed, which I'd kind of forgotten about, if I'm honest. I get to learn something new from scratch and teach myself something new with the help of others. Um, and then almost discover my own mindset, discover my own triggers. The reason I had a bad week the other week was because, in all honesty, I had some family news where I found out that a close member of my family only had a few weeks to live from cancer. Right now, at the time, I didn't think about that impacting my trading, because I wasn't thinking about it when I was trading. It didn't, I was thinking about trading. So how did that how did that influence my trading? Well, it was subconscious.
Yeah.
And my subconscious was somewhere else entirely. So again, would I have necessarily learned that or been so aware of that if I was doing an office job? I don't know. I'm not sure. Would I have made costly mistakes like I did on my trading at that time? Probably not. Right? I'd be in a bit of a mood, or I'd be a bit quiet with my colleagues or whatever. But I wouldn't really have that opportunity to learn what's impacting me and what's affecting me.
Yeah. Yeah, because
That,
trading
that
is so mental, right? It's like, because
yeah,
people say, "Oh, you just turn up, and click buttons, and you've done your job." You have literally that. Trading
yeah,
is on a physical process. It is. I'm going to write a
It
few
is.
journal entries. I'm going to take a few screenshots. I'm going to click a few buttons, but
yeah,
everything else is in your mind. It's all about your
absolutely.
mental health. In fact, Aaron shared something, and Aaron, I'm going to blame you for this, but I'm also going to thank you for this, because this is by far one of the best things I've done in the last 12 months. I was watching a TradeDelicious stream. This was before I joined the TradeDelicious team, and you were having a conversation with someone, and I can't remember who it was, and you spoke about working with a professional, and you spoke about working with a coach. You spoke about working with a performance coach, I believe it was. You also said, was it not a psychology coach? There was something where you worked with someone, and you said, I got far more out of working with a life coach than I did a psychology coach, or I got more out
Yeah.
of working with. It was like not working with a trading coach, but it was working with just fill in the gaps for me, because
Yeah. I mean, I've worked with a few people, believe it or not. Michael, thank you so much for your vulnerability, brother. Well, a lot of us have gone through the exact same thing. Same exact thing happened to me some years ago when I went full time for the first time in trading. I've worked with a couple different characters, and it's been a wild process. I've seen regular therapists, I've seen psychiatrists, I've seen a couple of hypnosis related guys. It's a lot of different kind of crazy performance
Mm,
performance coaches. But the goal of all of those conversations was to work on exactly what Michael was talking about, trying to make sure that the subconscious doesn't come too far forward by making sure that I'm working with it constantly to
yeah,
where I'm always aware of it, but it's never driving what I'm doing. It's never making the decisions for me, right? So there's an incredible amount of journaling. There's an incredible. I'm writing as I'm going through this as a just as an exercise. It's so incredibly important. When I first started trading some years ago, I joined a trading community very similar to this and live traded alongside those guys. One time, and this is years ago, it's really stuck with me. One time, an older crude trader just said, a 2-hour trading session can be just as stressful as an 8-hour day at work. And it's truly, it's true. If you're placing trades and you're watching your P&L go up and down hundreds of dollars, for some people thousands of dollars, it can be incredibly stressful. And there could be a lot of baggage that comes with that you are completely unaware of unless you're able to unload it in some way, shape, or form. So to fill in the gaps a little bit on that performance discussion, having a professional to talk to, not about your trading, because let's be honest, if you talk to one of us in the Discord, we could probably give you a very similar experience to most trading coaches, because we have experience. Hey, you're just buying rips here continually, but it's ripping to the downside. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Oh, who would have thought? So fixing that aspect of trading is very easy. But then when we start talking about things like You have family that
Mm.
recently contracted something horrible. You have a friend who just lost one of my best friends just lost their mother. You know, when you have those kinds of conversations, that's a very different type of conversation. How are you going to deal with that? How have you dealt with that in the past? Have you dealt with that in the past? How is this going to affect your performance? Will you be able to show every day? Will you be able to show up every day for yourself, let alone for the charts? Talking about those kinds of things, it's so incredibly necessary, because that aspect of health always makes the trades considerably better, considerably more profitable, and it makes your mental health exist for a little while. If you're just trading the trade and you're letting anything happen, flying by the seat of your pants, your mental health can very easily evaporate. And that's when we start really making poor decisions. That's when you see people blowing up their life savings. That's when you see those types of situations. It's not because they're these horrible traders that wanted to risk 150,000 when they have 160,000 in savings. It's because of a poor mental state.
Yeah, and that's exactly where that comes from, right? Because all this fear, greed, FOMO, all these bad actions that we do and go, oh, I was just being greedy. Where does that greed come from? And it was actually, I was inspired by listening to Aaron have that conversation. I just want to thank both of you for just making a space to have that conversation. Even Paul says in chat, it takes a true man to admit that, Michael. Hats off to you, my friend. True respect.
Thank you.
That conversation that Aaron had inspired me to go and seek out a choice theory coach. And a choice theory coach was all about building better decision making from identifying your subconscious because of how you're feeling. Trading every single day gives us an incredible feedback loop of feeling something. There's not a trader I know that sits there and just goes, "Bye, I feel nothing. I'm dead inside." Nobody does that. Their subconscious is screaming at them, put on more size, close the trade at 1 pip, maybe 3 pips, earn your nickname. There's always stuff going on internally that actually helps us as traders. We can just connect with that better. And that effectively is mental health. If you can understand what's going on and take time to journal around it, it's not spoken about in trading. And Michael, I know you have a massive passion for this. I'm going to encourage you, please carry on with that work. It gives us as traders an awesome opportunity to reflect on ourselves and our mental state in trading, because trading is such a rough game. Not physically. Physically, it's the easiest job in the world. You saw me the other day make $500 in what, 16, 17 minutes? It's so physically. Mentally, it's one of the hardest jobs, I would say. It's such a challenging job. So I just want to thank you for that. And full transparency, I blew 3 trading accounts inside of 3 weeks very early on in my trading journey. Who hasn't? And in fact, hat off to anyone in chat who will admit how many trading accounts they've worked through. I probably worked through and blew at least 10 accounts within my first 18 months of trading, because 100%. I had no connection of how I was feeling. I was so greedy. I didn't know why I was greedy. I didn't have processes. I didn't have accountability. I didn't even journal. So in my experience, to be an amazing trader, you've got to understand yourself better. And it's that part of trading that I fell in love with. Not the money. I had to fall in love with the process long before the money would even cross my doorstep. Now it does. I go, yeah, I made $500. I could have done something better. Even the trade where I make money, I'm still frustrated that I didn't follow my trading plan. Yesterday, 100% win rate. Did I follow my trading plan to the pip? No. And I'm frustrated about it because I pride myself on the things. I think Barry said it in chat. Worry about the things that we can control, not the things that we can't. And so much of our mental health, they're things that if we spend time to just sit down with ourselves and truly turn up for ourselves, we can control that, or we can have a better connection, at least with that. Sorry, that's my rant. I just wanted to add.
No, it's a worthwhile. It's a worthwhile rant. A lot of us have blown a lot. You know, I do have to highlight Evan here. You know, unfortunately, he lost his brother, and he lost a lot of funding accounts as a result. And now he's working on bouncing back. And that, I'm so sorry about your loss, my friend. That's real life, and that these types of things happen in our trading journey. It doesn't have anything to do with our trading. It's life. life kicks you in the nose, and hopefully we do everything that we can, Evan. If you're interested in sharing that kind of thing, we are here as a community to help support you through this. So
Graham is saying, I haven't fallen in love with the money because I haven't got it. Hey, mate, it'll come. It'll come. You build good processes, right? You go to the gym, you eat well, you live well. The byproduct is that you get the results. And I would say it's very, very much true with trading. If the results don't come, it's either a result of bad processes, which could be a bad strategy, or it could be a result of bad execution on good processes. Mine is certainly the later, not particularly the best execution on great processes, but I do have that great processes, and it took me some time to build those. But I want to pivot ever so slightly. So I had a look at the stream, and I want someone to give me confirmation on this. Yesterday, did we hit 77 likes? Because if we did, I've got to size up a little bit today, and I don't want to randomly just put on 7.7 lots if that's not actually what we hit. So I was on a bit of a speed run this morning, didn't have an opportunity to check it fully. Can we just get a little bit of feedback on that? If we do, then I know what size I'm going to be putting in the market shortly, which sucks because I can't find anything good.
75.
It's 75. Okay.
I just liked it, so 76.
Hang on, shall I go into it as well? I don't know if I liked it yesterday as well. Let me do it as well.
All right. We're going to round it up. We're going to call it 77. So we do something a bit crazy here called Trade the Likes. For every like that we get on stream, I increase my position value by $10,000. So yesterday we got in and around 77 likes. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to be trading 7.7 lots, and I'm going to do my best to manage risk around it. Everything we do here is for entertainment purposes. You've got to understand my risk is allocated by you guys. The time window I'm trading is when we're streaming as well. And a lot of the time I'm taking subpar setup. So please do not follow me into these trades because they're just an opportunity to reflect on my analysis. And yours as well, Michael. Michael, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, I just saw who did we have? We had somebody asking about USD CAD. Sales Wealth was asking about USD CAD. So I just thought I would quickly pull that up. And literally this is just me looking at a chart very quickly. I suppose this is the benefit of me spending full-time trading, right? So a lot of people, if we're talking about how long it takes to become a full-time trader or to quit your job, I'm very fortunate that I was made redundant in a way. Fortunate, unfortunate. It gave me a runway to dedicate to this, and I made that decision. But it means that now I can look at a naked chart more or less, and I can say, right, okay, what can I spot? So if I'm looking at these higher time frames, I can see there's an inside bar here. I can see there's another one here on the 7 hour. I can see another one up here on the 5 hour and another one here on the 5 hour. And if I look at the 1 hour, here we've got a nice long wick that took out this entire bullish candle, and it hasn't taken the low of this one. So right now, this is just my opinion. This is not a signal or anything like that. I would say you could well be looking at a long. You know, if we were looking at it in different theories, Rich, you know, you would probably look at this level here maybe to say, look, we had a price come up. So yes, there's a potentially some support here. So we could potentially see an entry. If I'm looking at it at the moment, it's literally happening right now that you've got this long wick here on the 11 minute. On the 7 minute, it looks entirely different. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily be going in on this until I see something happening on, for example, the 1 minute here. So this 1 minute looks like it's an inside bar here. So that for me is something that's still going to get targeted. And because we've got long wicks here on the 1 minute, that to me says we're pushing down. Look at that outside bar there. It doesn't mean it's going to go all the way down to the lows that we had, you know, on the 11 hour. But looking here, I'd be thinking, okay, we're not ready to go up yet. So I'd be looking at, because my entries are normally 1 or 2 pips, I wouldn't necessarily be ready to get in on this.
Yeah.
I'd be looking for multiple time frames to say, yeah, okay, this looks, you know, this makes sense. The 5 minute, look at that long wick there. Essentially, it doesn't cancel this one, but it does say to me, price isn't decided yet. It's not quite sure where it wants to go. You know, you've got this one here. Look at that wick there, but then it followed by another wick that way. and it was a bearish candle. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, absolutely. So there is a chance for a long, but for me right now, it's a little too early to tell. It has taken this low here of this candle, and it could it could react from this wick area on the 90-minute. But it's a little too hard to say. That's why I've marked this out, because you've got this wick here. Sorry, on the 1 hour, right? And that's why I think you might see a reaction. But because this started with an inside bar on the 1 minute, just above that tip of the wick, I'm not entirely convinced. On the 2 hour, it's just a wick, on a candle going up, on a bearish candle. Same on the 3 hour, the same on the 4 hour. So we might see a little bit of a move up, but I do think we'll be facing longs, because if you look at the structure, it's left for the day. It's left a bunch of liquidity. You've got 4 hour liquidity there. You've got 5 hour liquidity there, and on the 4 hour, on the 7 hour, you've got liquidity there. The reason I say it's liquidity is because at that point, price hasn't decided whether it's higher or lower than the previous time frame. The more you see that on the higher time frames, it means that at that point, the market couldn't decide whether it was going to carry on the move in the bullish direction, for example, in this area here, or was it going to reverse and go down into bearish. So that's.
Oh, have we lost you,
Michael? Oh, we've lost him.
Oh no. Then he was just about to give away the juice as well. He was about to tell us exactly where he was going to buy and sell. Michael, if you can hear us, your camera has frozen. It looks like you're mid-sneeze. Hopefully you will join us back any second.
Agreed. Super quick, Oh,
here we go.
Sorry, guys. Polish internet companies, you can't trust them. Can't trust them.
I can attest to this.
I'll run through a quick analysis. Thanks for sharing that with us. It's really insightful stuff, and I like that it's rules based as well. You're running through the time frame. You're looking for certain candles that fall in and outside of the previous candle, and then you're just marking your way down the time frame. And you're looking at, well, until now, you're looking at a time frame that nobody else, I think, is talking about or looking at as well. So I'm more, I guess, what would we say, an orthodox trader, or more of just a regular supply and demand trader? So when I'm
traditional,
looking at the market, traditional, that's the one. I'm a lovely traditional gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the market, I'm just looking for supply and demand, and I'm trying to find areas where sellers just sold aggressively in the past, and maybe I want to be participating in that. So I feel like there's a lot more eyes on the kind of areas that I'm trying to interact with, or should I say it's a lot more obvious. And sometimes it's the obvious trading edges that fall away quicker when the algos are changed in the market. Why? Because the market don't like giving out free lunch money. So if you can turn up every day and you can carve your little portion of the pie off, eventually the market's going to go, hang on a minute, what's happening here? How are you making $50 a day? How have you got 100% win rate? And I'll be like, that's because I'm 1 pip rich, don't you know? But negative risk to reward. It's nice. It's nice and easy to have a high win rate when you're negative risk to reward. But when you lose, typically you lose a bit bigger. So we're watching Euro USD run this high today, and I'm just trying to find an opportunity to get involved in the market. We've got the same thing on GBP USD. Done a top-down analysis on GBP USD, and I cannot find an opportunity to try and fade this move back. The only levels I have are these two levels up here, and price has still got to push another 15 pips before I'd be interested in trying to catch this falling knife.
You should be buying highs. Just buy the high and just keep it. Just keep it going. You need to be buying this high right now. Is what you need to be doing.
I want to be buying a pullback sort of into this level. If maybe the market can sort of pull back and continue to the upside, it would make sense to me. I would probably have a go at buying this on a pullback. But my edge comes from trading from areas, and this is an area where I think I'd want to sell from. So I'm going to go ahead and put an alert up here. We're going to be trading 7.7 lots today, so I will do my best to manage risk. The stop loss is going to be a bit wide on this. This would be nice and easy because I can have an entry here with a stop under the low, and it's 15 pips. We're done for about $1,100 of risk. But with this high, we jump to the 4 hour. It's a big old zone. I don't fancy getting in this with a stop loss of about 50 pips because I'm going to be risking $3,500. As we pull up the account, you can see that I've only, well, you can see that I'm up paying in commissions. I'm up about $1,600. I don't fancy risking about 3.5 in the market on this next trading setup. So hopefully a pullback and a continuation to the high side. So I'm going to put an alert down here. If this gets triggered, I'll be looking to buy the market on a pullback for a continuation to the high side. Euro USD, much the same, breaking out here. If we jump down to the 5-minute, I'm just not as convinced on this. If I had to buy it, I'd want to buy it probably somewhere around here, but I'm not as convinced. I like GBP USD better. So we'll jump to the 4 hour. I've got this wonderful box, and now I'm going to try and work out why I have this box. I'm looking at this price action here. This is what I want to do. I want to be trading from the footprint of, when we look at the 4 hour and we see this almost like an ignition candle here where the market decided to hit the throttle and go short. When we drag this across, often I find more interest in these areas. So now what I'm trying to do is look to see where price is currently, which is all the way up here. No, we're going to use the correct tool. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump through the time frames and I'm going to go back and I'm going to have a look at this price action. And we can see the market hit the throttle here, broke to the low side, came back up, tested, and then sold off. I don't think there's much selling interest round about here. I think the market has already taken all the orders and made its decision. I'm going to jump down one more time frame. I'm not going to force this trade. I'm now going to look at the 15-minute. Possibly, if I push this up here, possibly this is where the volume started to come in. If I jump to the 4 hour, yeah, this is why this box exists. So I was looking at maybe getting involved in this. It means my stop would have to be on this high. And this is all I do when I'm not on stream. I'm just talking through technical analysis. I am talking out loud. I'm the crazy guy in the room, but it helps me identify what it is. Aaron, I like how you just, yeah, Rich really is that guy.
No, I do the same thing. I record all of my trading sessions and I talk through it and I say really weird stuff. I make really weird noises, and that's just is what it is. I think if you're a good trader, you don't talk to yourself. There's something a little wrong with you, man. You got to talk to yourself a little bit.
But it's helpful, right? It's really helpful. So now what I've done is I've created a framework. Do I catch falling knives in the market? Absolutely. Every single day, I'm trying to find overextended moves and an area where we might get a small pullback. This is why I trade smaller risk to reward. So for me, this is where I want to be trading from. The problem is we've got a 20 pip stop loss. Let's have a look and see what that looks like. I think it's going to be about $1,560 risk. So we're going to put our stop on the high where I know I'm wrong, where drivers would continue driving price. I'm going to put a pending order, which means it's going to execute automatically if market reaches this price point. And I'm going to change this to 7.7 lots. Yes, $1,555 a risk. So we're pretty close on that. Do I want to be risking $1,500 in the market? I don't, but I do want to take this entry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this line down. And this is what I don't like doing. I don't like having my stop in a place where if it's hit and the market sells off, I was still right about my selling idea. But for the sake of managing risk, it's actually this line I want to pull through. Be about $1,000 risk on this one. So give me about 15 pips of breathing room. About 13. We'll go ahead with this. I'm going to execute this in the market. I'm going to leave this on as a pending order. So if the market rallies up, I will be filled on this as a short. If GU pulls back, I will be having a go at longing this because EU wouldn't have hit the level. And if EU goes, or if GU goes higher, EU will go higher and it will be filled. I've got 40 minutes to get filled on one of these trades. I really hope the market moves to one of these areas because this is what makes sense to me. They're at least a grade B setup. If the market doesn't move, we're going to be market ordering into something horrible. But it's my promise to chat that I will execute on however many likes we get from the previous the previous stream. Tell us in chat, what are you trading? What are you in? Do you want us to have a look at anything at the moment? And
Rich, let me just challenge you a little bit, if I may.
yes, please.
I know this is unheard of, right? As a first time guest, I hope this doesn't blacklist me from ever rejoining you guys. But you on your euro, I think it was a euro USD, you just placed this one here where you changed your stop loss. Is there a reason why you brought your stop loss closer rather than move your entry price? So why would you bring your stop loss further down instead of take your entry price further up?
My edge comes from my entries. A lot of the time when we're on stream, if I'm gonna be right about a trade, typically I'm not taking too much heat on it. I think there's volume on this price point, and so I'd rather try and bring the stop down, manage risk a little bit better, because if the trade goes all the way up to here, technically I'm still within my zone, but I've got to manage risk. And if chat keeps turning up and bullying me with these big likes, then I've got to get creative and I've got to try and do this. I'm trying to build the account and get it scaled before we start hitting like 100 likes, because I need that buffer in the account. But yeah, at the moment it's because my edge is based on my entries, and I'd be looking for that.
Right. So the only reason I ask is if it's on the 4 hour. If you go back to the 4 hour time frame, you see where your stop loss now is actually still within that 4 hour wick.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I would be more inclined to take the entry price up to the open of that bearish candle and stick your stop loss above the wick, because that's more likely.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Here, they put your entry price on the open of this candle, and then have your stop there, which is okay. That's
just my, if I was looking at that as a trade, that would be my zone of interest and where I'd be looking for a reaction.
Curious.
I could be completely wrong here, Rich. So this isn't a signal. This is not financial advice.
There's a disclaimer currently running across the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we make money, sometimes we lose it, almost professionally.
Almost. Interesting entry point on the open of that 4 hour candle and the open of the hourly candle. This is where the volume came in as well, right on this interesting level. I'll leave it on, and we'll see.
Just to see how it reacts, because on the strategy that I use, I've obviously back tested it for the last 15 months, when I've been learning the trade, or learning the trade of trading, that you will more often than not see wicks tested and not just the body of candles, and that's where I can get my edge in terms of those really sniper entries, which is why I don't necessarily go for the set and forget. I'm more watching price action when it gets to a zone, and then I'm looking for an entry.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, man. When you look at the overall market right now, we're in a kind of curious, precarious situation, guys. When you're looking at the overall market, this is just a heat map of all the major pairs. We're seeing the yen has found incredible strength amongst pretty much everything. We don't really care about the Chinese dollar too much or anything like that, but US dollar pair strong against everything except that yen. Euro pretty weak against most everything outside of New Zealand, Great Britain, and Australia. Just a bunch of English speaking countries.
Where's Jordan? The Aussie dollar seems to be I don't know.
I know. I'm very curious.
He's not with us today when the Aussie dollar's not doing so well.
Yeah. Oh, it's looking pretty rough. Yeah. So the same is true of the New Zealand dollar as well. We're definitely in a precarious situation. I think we're still playing the waiting game. We did see Christine Lagarde, the head of the European equivalent of the Federal Reserve, the head of the European Union banks. She came out and said a lot of nothing a few weeks back. But maybe we're still waiting on some of this news to come out. We're waiting for something to drop. I'm always so interested by you guys and your pairs, because you so rarely see significant moves. Oftentimes you see these, this is 0.4% moves, and then all of a sudden you get one really strong directional move. It's very, 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 very interesting when you're looking at that. Fascinating little situation here. Anyways, I just wanted to show that off really quick, just to give you guys an idea of where we are at in terms of a heat check really quick, because I thought that was curious.
Jordan will be on the beach. Jordan's always on the beach, right? What wouldn't it be? You've got them amazing beaches in Australia, and we've all seen the shore. And if you haven't, go and check it out. Aaron, I was wondering, could you have a look at the NAS for us? Johnson in chat is just saying, have a look at the NAS. Seeing how we're moving on that.
With pleasure. Yeah, so we're kind of red. I don't know if you guys have been around. I don't know what you've seen. I don't know what you've heard, but it's been bloody in the NASDAQ, starting from the 12th of this month. But basically, this is when we got meeting minutes from the Federal Reserve. It was just notes on the previous meeting that we had, and it said nothing good. And we've been selling off ever since. We did have a little bit of a pullback where we saw some bullish pressure over the past couple of days, but then yesterday we put in quite a fighter, an inside bar, as Michael would say, where we have wicks going in either direction, a lot of indecision in the market. Generally, when we have that kind of price action, I have a tendency to say I don't touch it, but I have a tendency to lean in the direction of the overall trend. And in this case, look at where we're opening up, really low here. Looking at the quarter, this is an 8-hour chart, giving you a little bit clearer of a picture here. We reached highs and we tried to stay amongst those highs. We didn't really do much work getting above the highs significantly. We ended up finding, as Rich would say, an ignition candle on the 11th at 2 a.m. that really started pushing things down. And we've been fighting to remain strong in any way, shape, or form since that point. It's become very obvious that we're seeing a lot of downside pressure. A lot of the major U.S. companies that participated in the incredible strength that we've had economically, NVIDIA, Apple, etc., have also lost a ton of market share and capital. So we're just seeing that finally play out. When you're looking at all the charts, whether it's a 30-minute, a 2-hour, a 4-hour, and 11-hour, then you're definitely looking at a lot of downside pressure. Where are we going right now? I really like where we're at for short-term longs, trading around these round numbers like the 400, getting up to the 500. If we can take this 500 and stay above it, then I definitely think that there's some opportunities for some short-term longs. If we continually oscillate below the 500 and we do not take that with strength, then obviously I think we're going to continue towards the downside. That's really where we're at with the NASDAQ.
Aaron, you do such a beautiful job of a gold analysis, and Johnson's just asking, could you just have a quick look at gold? Because you have these amazing technical edges in gold, Aaron.
Oh, gold. Gold is a cruel mistress, ladies and gentlemen. I need to get a real chart up here, so give me just a second while I bring that up.
So for those of you that don't know, we do not trade gold on stream. We stay away from gold on stream.
Can't stand it.
Gold is as Aaron says, gold is a cruel mistress.
She's so cruel. So obviously, guys, we're dealing with me freezing first and foremost. Let's see if I can get that going. You can still see my chart. That's what matters. So the big thing on gold, right? We've had a lot of fundamental reasons why gold is popping. Unfortunately, a lot of violence out in Israel and Iran. And so we've seen a bit of a pop off of that. And we've seen a little bit of a pop also because fundamentally we don't have much strength in many economies. So right now, my read on gold from a daily perspective is we're up, obviously, right? I don't like buying this thing until we're back down towards nice round numbers like the 2200. I find that bars like this guy were really our ignition bar to the upside. That happened to and through the $2,200 level. Will we see that today? Of course not, but this is a daily chart. So when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about this from a daily perspective. If we drill in a little bit, if we get down to a 4-hour, for example, obviously I think this is a good opportunity for the long side pressure. We've continually knocked on the door of 2300 and we got below it for just a moment and immediately found strength to the upside. So I think short-term longs look very good on the 4-hour. They look very good on the 1-hour, so long as we're able to take this 2330s area. If we struggle to take that, if we struggle to remain above that area, we could see some downside pressure, but I don't imagine we'll see much because, again, fundamentally, there's a lot of reason why we would have a very strong gold chart.
I like it. I like to just buy gold and hold it. I say I like to. I did a long time ago, and then I saw the swaps on it because I did it on my CFD account. Was eating up any potential profit, and the account was too small as well. So look, chat. I'm going to ask a favor. So sometimes we ask, "Hey, come in here if you like the stream. Give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and all that good stuff." But go a bit further than that for me today. Price is in the middle of no man's land. Really want to be buying GU from here. It's not pulling back. Want to be selling from here, and we are genuinely sitting in the middle of the range. Options, GU or EU. I'm going to need some help from chat. Tell me, which pair is it going to be today? I'm running out of time. We've got about 25 minutes left on the stream. I need to execute on a trade. So highest vote counts. I don't know how to do all the fancy stuff with the poll, but what I can ask is that you put in chat GU or EU. Let's try and nail down the pair. So let's get a big rally. Highest amount of votes wins, and I'm going to be going in 7.7 lots on that. And the next question after we get the pair, I hate to do this. It's going to be long or short. I'm trying to put responsibility on the stream because if this goes sideways, I don't want to take responsibility for it. So we'll let this run for a couple of minutes. Highest count on EU or GU. I see EJ. I'm not trading EJ. I'm definitely not trading EJ. Definitely not. I'm hoping GU comes up because I feel a bit more confident about GU. We've got a lot of votes on EU at the moment. This is me effectively just putting responsibility onto you guys and girls in chat. This is effectively what I'm doing. So when I take this big old loss, I can be like, chat told me to do it. Chat told me to do it. So and this, I can promise you, this is gonna be a scalp. Why? We got grade A setups, we got grade B setups, and then we got chat grade setups. Although chat does have a 67% win rate, was it, when we did that vote on whether Rich's trade works out? Chat was correct. So kind of quite liking the idea on this, but it's a mixed bag. I might need help to try and count these up, but I see a lot of EUs. I genuinely see a lot of EUs. Do a challenge and go for it. EU short. In fact, I think I saw earlier, Rich, don't worry about the likes, just send it full margin. If we get up to that, it can happen. Genuinely, it can happen. I'm hoping to build enough of a buffer in the account. If I full margin this account, we would be trading around about, I believe it's a 1% account move for every, I think it's 1.2 pips. So imagine a 12 pip stop loss. I'm going to be trading with about 10% risk on the account. Yeah, that's trying to run away from a storm, right? It's just, I feel like this is going to catch up with me one day. How dare you? Chart is a grade A setup. Let's have a look. What do we got in here? I'm gonna do a quick count up on EU and see where the number is.
It looks like they want you to go for EU, Rich, but actually I think GU is closer to a sell.
That's a tough one.
Because GU, you're coming into a 1 hour outside bar wick just this very second. So there may or may not be a reaction now. But
counting 10 comments on EU, just running through GU at the moment.
Very interesting. EU does right now.
7. No, EU takes it. EU takes it. Right. This is gonna be. Let's zoom in. This is what we're doing. So we've got 25 minutes left on stream. I know price will not reach one of the levels. Ideally, I wanted to sell from one of the levels I wanted to buy from. Not only am I over leveraged by trading 7.7 lots because we got 77 likes on yesterday's video, I've resorted to leaning into the experience of our audience. I'm going to trust that what we've been putting out for the last 4 months here in the London streams and in the US streams, I'm going to just trust that our audience has just picked up enough about it to just give me some solid financial advice, because it's not financial advice when we do it, but when our audience do it, I'm sure we can put it on them. So EU takes the win. Now, next question. This is going to be a market entry. Let me worry about the stop loss. Market entry, buy or sell. Highest amount of votes on this. This is what we're going for. It will be a market entry, and I'll do it. I'll do it in about 8 minutes when we're down to about 15 minutes left on the stream. If price is genuinely not near anything, which is not, I'm going to go ahead and market enter on that. So now's an opportunity to get your votes in. Buy or sell. Martin straight out the gate saying sell on EU. We would be selling into this strength, selling into these highs without a breakdown previously. Oh, there's a lot of, everyone wants me to sell EU. Evan wants me to buy EU. I kind of want to, I would want to buy. I genuinely would want to buy. So for every buy I see in chat, I'm a little bit more
inclined to that. Yeah. Goodbye. Oh man, simple men over here. Simple men, simple jokes. Oh, it's great.
It may very well be goodbye. The good thing with EU, when we pull up the spreads over here, we're actually going to be seeing that we're trading pretty much with, where are we there? 0.1 pip of spread. So genuinely, this might be the scalpiest scalp we've seen on trading. In trading, this might be a very, very small TP on this one. Go to the 1 minute chart. All right, let's have a look. So we'll do a top-down analysis. What we got? 4 hour. Buyers are pushing price, breaking new levels. I don't see we're going to run into problems until we hit this line on the chart. So buying is okay until we hit this line. Now, we're going to drop down to the hourly. What do we got? We have sellers tried to push price lower and very quickly got overwhelmed by buyers. Again, confluence. Buyers are trying to push the price higher. Don't argue with me. It's just green candles on the chart. It tells me everything I need to know about price. We're going to jump to the 15 minute, and it's much the same kind of story. We printed the high of the day. Market come down. Couldn't break any of these structure lows, and very quickly got pushed up higher. Sellers are trying to hold on to this high, but buyers are very quickly overwhelming them. It tells me buyers, if I had to market enter, buying would be like, it just makes a bit more sense to buy. Kind of wanted to do it a bit lower, but price didn't pull back. 5 minute chart, what do we got? Didn't even break a structure low on the 5 minute. Price just rallied and has continued to print higher. I will now move down to the noisiest chart of them all, which is the 1 minute chart as well. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I just don't know what to do with this. Maybe we've got a head and shoulder pattern. Maybe we can call this left shoulder. Maybe we printed ahead. We've come down, broke this structure low. This is really me clutching at straws. Maybe the market's going to pull back and sell from this level, and this is going to be the move to the downside. I don't see it. I really don't see it. So we've got less than 5 minutes. Highest votes wins, and I'm going to be market entering with 7.7 on EU today. Please do not copy this trade. This is not a trade. There are trades, and this is not a trade. How am I going to grow
this is tough. You know, when you're looking at these types of positions, guys, and whatever you're trying to find opportunities, whenever you have to make arguments, and we can make arguments in both directions here, it's probably not the best trade, because please buy home.
You say exactly that, Aaron. I mean, literally, I have. Oh, you probably can't see it unless I put it there. I have a tick list, a manual printing tick list, because I used to just think, oh yeah, my gut instinct says that it's going to go this way, and I'd be wrong. I with all my rules and my entries and everything else, I thought, right, okay, let me manualize this a little bit. We don't have to go digital. You could do journaling and all those sorts of things, but actually for my entries, that was the best way to kind of hold myself accountable and say, right, out of the 6 different criteria, okay, I'm meeting 4 of them right now. Am I happy with that? Depends which ones they are, etc. But if I've only got one, well, then I'm just clutching at straws, you know.
Yeah.
So,
in that case, you're just trying to find a trade because you want to trade. You're not trying to find a trade because you're a professional risk manager. I think there's a big distinction between the two.
Absolutely right.
Wow. I mean, run it.
Jeez,
gentlemen.
I'm doing the count up. I'm having the count up because we got less than 3 minutes. And do you know, when price is in the middle of nowhere, you're like, I don't know. Do I buy? Do I sell? It's this is I genuinely read it in chat a minute ago. This is a gamble. This is absolutely a gamble. This is not a trade. This is not best practice. But this is good because we get to highlight this and say, what does best practice look like? Best practice is being patient, waiting for the market to move. There's a reason I haven't executed any trades on my personal account today because the market isn't favorable. So This will be fun. This will be okay when we get 10 likes. But when we get 77, this becomes a bit stressful. I'm not going to lie. This genuinely becomes a little bit stressful. Right. I'm going to have a count up. It will take me a minute.
Oh, man. Gamboli is something serious. Michael, have you found any good opportunities for you, my friend? Have you pulled the trigger at all?
No, not at the moment. There is, I'd love to say, hey, guys, I'm going to get funded on this stream. But it's slim pickings today. I mean, I think, days like today when there is big news coming in the afternoon, you tend to see either there's a big move first thing, when there's no overlap between Asia and London, and then the really big moves then, back or continuations happen with New York. But at the moment, it feels like we're stalling. We're stalling a little bit in terms of having that strength to move forward. We had some big moves earlier on during Asia and then when London opened. But now it's, I can see on EU, I can see a bunch of liquidity just above where we are right now, which I'm certain will get taken. It's just a question of when. And until it's taken, I'm not interested. And so I think the markets might leave us waiting today. They might leave us waiting until later today for any grade A setups, as Rich would describe them, because at the moment it feels like no man's land, across all of the different charts. I'm normally GU, EU, gold rarely. I mean, gold for me looks long for the day at the moment. And then you look at the indices as well. It's all just a bit. Don't like it.
No, I'm with you. It's when it doesn't make sense, I stay out. It's just that simple. I sit on my hands and go and do something else. Now I have it roughly. I think 9 sells to 7 buys. That's what I'm making it. So seems like we're going to be selling the market. And price isn't moving, so we're going to be selling the market pretty much on these highs. I just think this breaks out. This is chat. You well, we have
the coin.
It will push EU lower. All right, let's. This is terrible. Not financial advice, not even a trade. Just a little bit of fun that we're having while we're waiting for the markets to make sense to us. You've turned up in a big way. You've voted for EU. You've turned up in an even bigger way, and you voted for EU to go short. Chat has a 67% hit rate with the financial advice that they give me. Price is starting to move down. I need to be quick with this one. Let's get it in. See what happens here. I'm going to have to put the stop. Let's quickly hop out to a higher time frame. I've just thrown the stop somewhere at the moment. I know where I want the stop, which is here. That's a cool, calm $2,500 risk. Absolutely not going to happen on my watch. We're going to go back to. Oh dear. Where can I put the stop on this? Maybe this left high. Let's jump down a smaller time frame. This is where the volume come in. We've already pulled back and tested this. We're holding in this range. Could I put my stop lower? I mean, this is still $1,500 risk.
Mm.
This is terrible. This is where the volume came in as well. I'm not going to take a $1,500 loss on this. I'll leave the stop. I'll leave it on here, but I'm not going to take a $2,500 loss on this. So there it is, chat. We are in your good hands. We can see the P&Ls floating at the bottom, and this is. I think this breaks high. If you ask me, I'd say 55%. We break aggressively, not just break and close on this high. We break aggressively, and that's the trigger to trigger all the stops and potentially breakout buyers coming into the market. And the good thing here, it's not down to me, it's down to chat.
There you go.
Rich isn't taking responsibility for this one.
Absolutely not.
One tip for you, Rich, because that P&L it messes with your mind. You can't hide the black bolded figure in terms of pips. But what you can do is if you right click on the box where your red is right now for this trade.
Here?
Yep. Just right click.
Okay.
And then you should see an option for how to show price, or sorry, how to show profit. Sorry, and you should be able to show it as points.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Right. So, and then what you can do is you can then drag that window down.
Yep.
So it only shows your trade and it doesn't show your P&L.
Oh, look at that.
And it's a little bit easier to stomach. It's a little bit easier to stomach.
Yeah, we're only losing 1.9 pips. Look at that.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's not as bad as I thought.
So yeah, because when you start getting into those bigger figures, it messes with your mind. It really does. And I've noticed. I think it's Sol, the CEO at the Fivers. He does it because he's a scalper. Like he is an amazing scalper, and that's how he does it. Is he just has the points. He doesn't have the profit in terms of figures. So
Saul is a really good. You want to talk about mental maps? If any of you guys get the opportunity just to listen to him, I've interviewed him I think 3 or 4 times for the channel, and he blows me away with the wisdom and the way that he handles things. Saul Loquier that man is a gift.
He is. I mean, just the calm vibes that he gives off when he goes on the Fivers stream, and he just walks in. He's just like, I'll just take some entries. Nice. Literally, Rich, you were saying earlier, if anyone can come in and just feel nothing, when they're trading, I think Sol's as close as you're going to get to something like that, because he just comes in on these scouts, and he really has, the book Trading in the Zone by Mark.
Great book.
Yeah. When I watch Sol trading on those live streams, he almost epitomizes that trading in the zone of the attitude towards the market, the attitude towards, even a loss is still a win, because you're learning from it. The way he enters, the way he scales in, scales out, everything, it's really, it's quite something to watch,
Yeah, and that's how to never lose in trading, right? Never, ever give the market anything without taking a lesson from it.
Exactly, Abe. Exactly.
I had to throw that up there real quick. I had to throw that up there really quick. Oh, sorry about that, gentlemen. Had to throw that up there really quick. Yeah, I think when you're trading and when you're involving yourself in these markets, you have to recognize that there's a degree of randomness. And I think that's something that Saul and Michael over at Trade the Pool does really well. It's kind of irregular that you see CEOs of companies like that actually be able to perform that well in the asset that they're pushing. But Saul really is. I mean, he really is professional in every sense of the word. When he pulls up to the charts, he's not pulling up to make money. He's pulling up to make risk adjusted trades and make a return on his investment. There's no thought process that's like, I'm trying to make $1,000 or $1,500. He's trying to show process, and he doesn't try. He succeeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Magnificent trader.
Chat might be coming wrong for me. Look at this. Look,
nice move happening for you, Rich. Nice move happening for you.
If we get a close under here, that would be really amazing.
Triple highs though. I mean, there'll be if we jump out to a higher time frame, the market started to push lower. I think there'd be all sorts of liquidity on this high. Yeah, this is trouble is I've already calculated this $4 a round trip, so I'm going to be 7 times 4. $28 I'm going to be paying just to close this trade. I say just, this is amazing trading conditions, but I'm conscious that unless this goes over $28 profit, I will not be able to close in a profitable position. So yeah, I think if I had to take a move to the downside, it would be around about this level here, which comes in at $670 profit. But we'll see. We'll see what the market does. We've got only about another 7 minutes left on the stream. So I'll update the Discord with this trade afterwards. So if you're not in the Discord, links in the description under this video. Join the Discord. Come say hi to us. Have a chat. We're all, you know, traders, been doing it a little while, building a community of traders that are just openly sharing our experiences of trading and talking about experiences. This is as an experience, live streaming and asking and lending a favor from the audience to say, what are we trading? EU, GU, what direction? And a market entry with the size that was allocated as well. I think I've done enough to push responsibility well and truly off my shoulders. I'm trying to make myself feel better.
Rich, I do have to say this really quickly. I was using, so you guys know, I no longer full-time day trade. I still trade, but I work a day job as well, right? Because the stresses can be so much. The wife wants a baby this year, right? Fun stuff. The so during at the day job, I'm like Rich and I, we were tradesmen. I work with my hands, carpenter. I said something. I've been using British sayings, I suppose, and most people get them, but just yesterday, so I said, is this far and away from the norm? And I had several people be entirely confused as to what I was saying, and I was thinking, who could I have gotten that from? Rich. So I need you to know that you have permeated my life in more than one way, my friend. I use your strategies, and now I use your sayings. You gotta try to mimic the best to be the best. So pretty soon here, I'm gonna.
In fact, I think it was only 2 streams ago I found myself saying oodles and noodles of profit.
It was, yeah.
And that comes from somewhere, Aaron. I can't quite remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I remember you saying that, Rich, and I thought, there is Aaron right there. That is his influence.
And trading is the circles you run in, right? It's those you rub
it
shoulders.
Really is.
They're the behavior patterns that you'll pick up on. And that's why we appreciate you all for being here. You give us an opportunity to just reflect, ask great questions. And then obviously we're just sort of sharing our experiences about the markets as well. And it gives everyone in our audience an opportunity to just kind of go, I don't agree with that. And that's totally cool to not agree, especially with the stuff I say. But with what Aaron says, you should totally agree with all of that. That man has got, well, we spoke about it before, but big brain. That's not
at all true. I lose so many of my trades so often. I was looking at my all-time statistics since I've been recording, and it's not horrible. But all time I lose about 6 out of every 10 trades. So I'm about 40% when it comes to profitability. And it's something. It can be stressful at times to turn up and know I'm going to press this button. 4-finger forehead. What does that mean?
Come on, we spoke about this before on the stream, and we've said what a 5-head is. A 5-head is where your brain is so big that you can get 5 fingers on your forehead. Aaron, I know you were in the stream because you hung your head and you went like, oh no.
Oh, I remember this.
I watched the stream back and I was like,
oh, that was great.
1 step too far.
Oh, that was great. Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It looks like you got yourself involved in a range.
It's great.
Yeah.
Love it. It's yeah. It's this is what we were expecting. We didn't know which way price was going. It's going sideways. I chased it a little bit as it was moving down. I saw that chat was saying, hey, get involved in a sell. So I was like, this could be the sell, and the market is just sitting round about break even, not doing anything too special. Rich looks like Tony Stark. I don't know who Tony Stark is. I'm going to have to Google.
Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, should I know who he is?
Oh my gosh.
Who's
both of you. Come on, fellas. Iron Man. Tony Stark is the alias for Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
We take those. Thank you very much.
That's why they call me Modest Mike and not you, Modest Rich. You know, Rich is just like, oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, all right. I'll take that.
I'll take it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. That is so great.
So, Aaron,
I think you'll be all right, Rich. I think you'll be all right. I think it will be tight that you need to cover your $28 for your commissions, but I can see it coming. You see that low on the 1 minute, just further back where you've started your trend line. I think it will come down to test that area.
Okay.
I think it will come to test that area. That's my theory at the moment.
And to be fair, Mike, sometimes you've been in chat and you've been like, hold on to this trade, hold on to this, it's going down. And genuinely, there has been occasions where I got the entry and I didn't hold the trade, and those could have been some big numbers. So maybe we'll lean into that experience. You know why I'm saying maybe? I'm looking for about
cover that $28 entry, and that's it, right? Thanks very much. Covered my entry costs. I've covered my ticket for the cinema. I've seen the movie, right? I don't need to. I've seen the intros. I don't need to see the whole film. The adverts are fine.
Aaron, what do you got coming up for us later on today? You're on the US stream, streaming in about 4 hours from now. What do you got?
Yes, sir.
Looking for
we're going to be talking about markets. A lot of earnings going on. We'll talk a little bit about what happened with Tesla and their earnings. We're going to be talking about Meta earnings for Facebook. We're going to talk about a lot of really important equities for the U.S. economy. Hopefully, we'll make some money on stream. Hopefully, we'll make some opportunities happen. I am actually, like Michael, just a couple dollars away from getting funded on another funded account in futures. I'll be talking a little bit about that. And actually, later this week, this coming Sunday, I'll be doing a webinar for anyone interested in transitioning from FX to futures. Anyone just curious about futures, you want to learn about what it is, how things work, how contracts work, what does an expiration mean. I'll be going over all that fun stuff this coming Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of different stuff we're working on. Super excited to be sharing all that we are sharing with you guys.
I'm looking forward to being kept awake by Aaron in the middle of the night instead of my kids. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my friend. 6 p.m. in Britain is what is that?
In Britain, it's 7 p.m. in Poland. So 6 p.m. in Britain is 7 p.m. in Poland. But then it's like midnight over here in Poland.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've done it. Sorry, I'm going to have to jump in here. $61 profit. The chat has come through for us in a big way, retaining.
Ring that bell.
So, congratulations. Just want to say thank you ever so much. We're making fun of it. It wasn't a proper trade. It wasn't a proper analysis. This is why One Pip Rich is at his best trying to close that trade when he had the first opportunity. Why? Because I'm not comfortable. So much of trading is about finding what resonates with you. We touched on it earlier. If you're only just joining the stream now, go back, watch the stream. Mike and Aaron shared some amazing stuff about the mental health involved in trading, finding a way that markets suit you as an individual. Let that be your risk management. Let that be your strategy. We had a bit of fun with this trade today. It wasn't something that fitted me as it sells down lower, and I wish I held on to it, but I didn't. So we closed at a small bit of profit. We're going to be back tomorrow, 8:30 UK time. Join Aaron in the US stream in 4 hours from now. And I want to take a big moment to say thank you, Michael, for joining us on stream. We'd love to have you back again. And,
thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for all the kind comments. I haven't had a chance to read all of them, but thank you for all the kind comments in the chat. It's very kind. So yeah, mental health is a big part of trading. So, happy to join the conversation, and yeah, looking forward to seeing many more streams and many more pips, Rich.
To more pips.
To more pips.
More pips, generally.
To more pips with my manly bottle of water. Brilliant. We will
Absolutely.
catch you again tomorrow. Thanks ever so much, chat, for turning up. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.